Hey guys, I wanted to do a quick lesson on finding common denominators in fractions. If you have two fractions and you're trying to decide which one's larger or smaller, the easiest way to do that is to have a common denominator. And also, when we get to adding, subtracting fractions, this will be an important part because you have to have a common denominator to add and subtract. So, just a reminder, if I have 1/2 and I have 5/8, we know the top number is the numerator and the bottom number is the denominator. All right, so we have the numerator and the denominator. And what we do is we look at the denominator because we want to get them common. We want them to be the same. So we want them to be common, which equals the same. So, for example, if I look at 1/2 and 5/8, it's harder to tell which one's larger just from that. But if it's a common denominator, it's easier to do so. So the things that you have to do is you have to think about counting or multiples of the denominator. So let's take 2 first. And let's just count by twos. I always go up 5 numbers. So 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. And then the denominator for 5/8, 8, we have 8, 16, 24, 32, and 40, right? So I'm looking for the common denominator here, or common multiple. Well, on this one, it's easy to see that 8 is my common multiple. So unlike when we were trying to get the simplest form and trying to find the greatest common factor, on this one we're trying to find the least one or the least common multiple. In this case, it's 8. So what I do is I look, oh, well, 5/8 is already, I already have an 8 in the denominator there. So that means I only have to change the denominator in 1/2. So I take 1/2 and I know that I'm going to um, set it up where 1/2 or 1 times blank equals 8. So I'm thinking about 2. 2 times what equals 8? Well, if you think about it, 2 times 4 equals 8. Well, whatever I do to the bottom, if I multiply 2 by 4 here, I have to multiply by the top, right? Remember, whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. Whatever I do to the top, I do to the bottom. 1 times 4 is 4. So my answer would be 4/8. Here's another shortcut there that you could use. And if you're not sure 2 times what equals 8, I can go back to my multiples and go, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. My 4, so 2 times 4 equals 8. So you could do it that way as well. So that problem wasn't too bad because I only had to change one of the fractions because 2 will go into 8. So then let's look at a different one. Let's say that I had 2/3. And so this is problem 2. 2/3 and we have 1/4. Okay. So once again, I'm going to take my denominators 3 and 4, and I'm just going to count by threes first. 3, 6, 9, and 12. And 15. Remember, I want to go 5 places. And then 4, I have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So my first common denominator and multiple that I have here is 12, right? So then I can do, okay, 2/3 times blank equals, and my denominator is 12. So 3 times what equals 12? 3 times what equals 12? Well, 3 times 4. 3 times 4 equals 12. So whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. 2 times 4 equals 8. So I get 8/12. Then the next number, I have 1/4. So 1/4 times blank equals 12. 4 times what equals 12? Well, it's just reverse from the other. So 3. Whatever I do to the bottom, do to the top. 1 times 3 is 3. So I get 8/12 and 3/12. Now my denominators are common. Now, let me show you a little shortcut. It's always good to do shortcuts. It's not really to make it harder. It's to really make your life easier. Do a little bit less work. For example, let's say that I had the numbers 2/3, so we'll keep that one, and 1/6. Okay. So before I decide to count by threes or count by sixes, I'm going to look at the two denominators. and see if my smaller denominator, which is 3, will go into my larger denominator, which is 6. Well, will 3 go into 6? Yes. How many times? 2. So I know that I can leave 1/6 alone, and then I'm just going to come over here and do 2/3 times 2, which we know it equals 6, and 2 times 2 is 4. So now I have 4/6 and 1/6, and they have common denominators. So that's just a little easy way for you to kind of take a little bit of time off of when you're trying to get common denominators. As we get into the next couple days, we'll see that we have to know how to do or find common denominators in order to add and subtract fractions. But the other reason it helps is this. Let's just say I wanted to, with 2/3 and 1/6, the assignment is to which is greater, right? So I have 2/3 and 1/6. Well, we know 2/3 equals 4/6. So now I have 4/6 and 1/6. So how does that help me? Well, if I draw a picture of my candy bar, right, and I take my denominator, which is 6, so I divide it into 6 pieces. Not too good of drawing there. But then I say, okay, I have 4/6, which is right here, and I have 1/6, which is right here. Which one's greater, 4/6 or 1/6? Obviously, 4/6 is a greater amount than 1/6. So that was just another reason why finding a common denominator can help me with knowing which is greater and which is less. So we'll get more into finding common denominators as we get into adding and subtracting fractions. But finding common denominators is a skill that you'll have to know from here on out, not only in 5th grade, but as you get into math in middle school and high school as well. Hope this helps.